What's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave, and I'm just going to do a quick recap of the fight tonight between Caleb Plant and Jose Benavidez. First off, I want to shout out to all the new subscribers. I also want to shout out to everyone that was here on my live commentary video. And we had a great time. It was a great night of fights. Overall, the pay-per-view was pretty good. Outside of the Joey Spencer fight, all the fights were good, okay? And also, I just want to apologize to all the people that came to the commentary to watch the Ramirez Commey fight. It's just the Plant Benavidez fights was so intense that I couldn't really juggle both. I rarely went back over to the Ramirez fight because they were just 2 or 3 rounds ahead of the Plant Benavidez fight. All right, but let's talk about this fight. First of all, I just gotta say this: Plant, a lot of heart. I gotta give him credit. This man took a beating. All right, he took a beating. After the 8th round, I want to say after maybe 8th or 9th round, he took a beating for the remaining of the fight, at least after the 8th round. I thought the fight in the first 5 or 6 rounds was very, very competitive, okay? I scored it first round Plant, second round Plant, third round David, fourth round Plant. The 5th round, I swung it. I didn't even score that round. I give it a tie. That's a 10-10 round for me. So you can give the Plant, you can give the David. But after that, I gave the remaining of the rounds all to David from the 6th to the 12th rounds. Okay? Kenny Bayless. Kenny Bayless was way too involved in this fight. If you were here watching the commentary, you would know I am so angry at the way he handled that fight. Okay? Because you cannot get involved to a point where if a fighter is continuously holding and the opponent is trying to fight his way out of the hold, you can't keep jumping in the moment he holds on, because you're changing, you yourself, not the fighter, you are changing the momentum of the fight. So if there's a pressure fighter and there's a fighter that needs time, space, you are getting involved and you're changing the momentum. David is fighting out of the clinch. He is landing punches on the inside. Plant most of the time was only able to hold one arm. So one of those fighters, which is Benavidez, he is trying to land with the free hand. If his right hand is being held, he's trying to land the left hand. He's landing, for a tall, long guy, he's landing short shots on the inside. What are you doing by jumping in every single time and trying to separate them yourself? Give them time to fight out of it, okay? Obviously, Plant wanted to keep holding, but if you're going to allow him to hold so much, give him a warning. Give him a couple warnings. Say, hey, yo, you got to stop the holding. It was way too much holding. And you never gave him any really harsh warning, and you didn't take any points away. I'm not saying you had to take any points, but give him a harsh warning, because the holding is in the clinching. And at this point, he's just clinching. He's lunging in to hold. He's trying to restrain him throughout damn near the second half of the fight. The second half of the fight, he's rarely, from the 8th round on, he's rarely fighting. He'll land some jabs and stuff, and he'll land some good counters, but he had to hold in order to survive this fight. He's been surviving. He survived for almost 6 rounds, for 5 rounds. He had to be in survival roles. At least from the 9th to the 12th, he survived. It was no more fight. It was just surviving. So Plant did his thing early. Benavidez, some of the things that some of you hated, some of the flaws that David had in his fight in his style, it showed early in the fight. Because early on, he was, first of all, like the first round or two, he needed to relax. He seemed to be really, really fired up. He's throwing, he's way too outside of range, so he's like lunging in with jabs and right hands, and he's missing his mark. But as time went on, like in the 3rd round, he had a good round. He was in range. He was landing some nice shots. He was getting the pressure in, and he forced Plant to retreat. You know, then when he started to really go in, like when it became a point where Plant had to retreat continuously, and he didn't really have the time to get the shots off. That's when Benavidez really started to take over. I would say like from maybe like the third or the fourth, fifth, and sixth, before it started getting really bad. Even the rounds that I gave to David, like maybe the fifth, sixth, seventh rounds, um, I feel that those rounds were still close simply because David was fighting in the center of the ring, and he wasn't always aggressive. Once Plant was retreating and he was on the outer perimeter of the ring, that's when David really started taking over. Okay, what I really liked from David in this fight was the short shots on the inside with no space. It kind of reminded me of Fedor and Lubin, because Lubin, the more experienced fighter, a guy that can handle himself well and sit in the pocket and fight in the pocket. We figured that because of Fedor's length, that, Lubin would want to fight more on the inside, which is what he did, but he paid for it because Fedor, even though he's tall and long, he was able to land some nice short shots on the inside, nice uppercuts, nice hooks. He was still able to land those short shots clean while tied up with Plant. So that was one positive thing that we got from Benavidez. Plus, him just being relentless, he did everything that he was supposed to do, except pretty much get the stoppage that we all expected. At least for the people that picked Benavidez to win, we expected the stoppage. All right. I feel that Benavidez put way more punishment on Plant than Canelo did. I know Canelo stopped him. I know Plant went down and he was stopped. Those punches in the 11th round of that fight got Plant out of there. But before the 11th round, up into that stoppage, there's no comparison. Benavidez, even in the entire fight, Benavidez put so much more damage on Plant. To a point where I felt like in the 10th and 11th, definitely the 11th round, I thought that the fight could have been stopped. I'm really surprised that the corner didn't throw in the towel. They probably had a discussion about it. I'm surprised that the ref didn't jump in, but Kenny really didn't do many things right in this fight. I'm surprised it didn't get stopped, but Plant fought strong, and he hung in there, and he banged it out. He slugged it out with Benavidez in the 12th round. He didn't hold in the 12th round. Not much. So he showed a lot of heart, and he fought strong in the last round. But Benavidez, if we're talking from the 8th to the remaining of the fight, put way more damage on Caleb Plant. Like Plant and Canelo was a more technical fight, where this was a street fight. This fight, even from Plant, all that time, when I was breaking it down and I said that Plant likes to be on the ropes sometimes, and he likes to be in the corner. He likes to wait and set traps and roll punches and counter with right hands, short right hands, and uppercuts. That part was missing in this fight. There was never any time or period in this fight where Plant was setting up those kind of shots. It was never for that. It was always moving and surviving and getting the hits in, landing the punches, or, coming forward at times, or keeping the fight in the center of the ring. There was never points in a fight where Plant was comfortable on the ropes. He had to continuously move because Benavidez is a different kind of pressure fighter. And we can talk more about this in follow-up videos when we're comparing Benavidez to, because now that we've seen Benavidez fight on this level, now we know what he can do in this level. And to be honest, Benavidez still looked very durable. His face still looked pretty clean for the amount of punches he took. Plant did his thing. I'm not saying he didn't. Plant, especially in the earlier rounds, he connected with some nice combinations. His jab was working. He even landed the hook that I felt that him and Breadman and they were working on, because that's the hook that he landed against Darrell. He landed a few times, but just didn't have the same effect on Benavidez. Younger, fresher, more durable. It just wasn't enough. And at the very end of it all, we knew that Benavidez and his pressure and Plant tiring out was just going to be too much. Plant did good. I'm still kind of mixed on whether or not I want to see him against the other top tier fighters, because I feel like in this fight, he took a lot of punishment. So I feel that this fight can change him. You know, it might change him. He took a lot of damage here. You know, it kind of reminds me like of Hurd and Lara. Yeah, Hurd won the fight. You know, Hurd in his brutal, aggression won the fight, but he was never the same after that. You know, and I feel like with Plant, yes, he survived it. Yes, he went to 12, the full 12. Yes, he went out like a warrior in the 12th round. But, at this top tier level, how much damage can he continue taking? Getting stopped by Canelo, but getting beaten by Benavidez, like bad. I'm still interested in fights. Of course, I would still love to see a Morrell fight with him, or Andre fight, or Jamal Charlo once Jamal gets back in order. These are all good fights, but I just gotta see how he looks coming back and stuff. As far as Benavidez, all I want is the Canelo fight right now. Obviously, I would love to see the Dave Morrell fight or Andre fight, but to be honest, I want to see, with that kind of performance, I want to see David Benavidez with Canelo Alvarez. I know Canelo wants to fight Bivol in September, but yo, just do it, man. You're both Mexican fighters, man. Just do it. Do it for y'all. I mean, I'm in for it. I'm for it. I'm not Mexican, but I want to see that shit. I've been wanting to see it. But now that David proved himself and had that performance, I really want to see it now. Because I'll talk more about that fight in another video. But I want to see the fight. I want to see it because we know that Canelo technically is more technically sound. He's more skilled. But what happens when he slows down? We see what happens. I mean, even a 40-year-old Triple G was able to beat him in the last 4 rounds. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, oh God, my eyes itching. With that being said, great performance from David Benavidez. He did his thing. I love the sportsmanship at the end. I wasn't expecting that, but it was cool to see it because at the end of the day, man, it's good to sell the fight. Y'all don't really have to be that angry at each other. It's really not like that serious to me. But great fight. Pay-per-view was worth it. It was worth it outside of the Joey Spencer fight. And that's about it. We'll talk more about it. I'll probably go live in the morning and we could chat about it some more. We could talk more about Canelo. And we'll go from there. All right? So anyway, if you are new, subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button if you like the content. And again, shout out to everybody that was here for the live commentary. But we'll be talking more about this fight. All right? I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.